Welcome to Real Authority. I am in the theater right now. I just got done watching Scream 7 for the opening night fan event. Whew. Sorry if I sound like I'm out of breath. That's literally because I am, so might as well just start by saying, look at how that massacred my boy. Plot is Sidney Prescott's back. Neve Campbell returns. She has a daughter who's basically in the same shoes as her. They're not in Woodsboro, but Ghostface decides, I already did New York. I could go see Sidney too. So yeah, another Ghostface killer is going to cause a murderous rampage. So it's up to Sidney and co to basically unmask the killer and stop him once and for all. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm not sure if you noticed my YouTube community post once the trailer came out. I wasn't exactly excited for the movie. I mean, I'm a Scream fan, so of course, the closer we got to release, I would get excited, but my optimism was not exactly there. Not because I didn't want to like this movie, it's because, have you seen the behind-the-scenes controversy? You're walking around and going in circles, whoop! Of course you gotta talk about Spyglass firing Melissa Barrera for practically innocent comments. People have said far worse and didn't get fired, so absolutely stupid decision. And of course, Melissa's firing led to Jenna Ortega leaving. Sidney Prescott returned for, I think, a $7 million sum, which I understand completely. If I was offered a large sum of money to return to a franchise, hell, I'd do it. But again, the first trailer really just seemed like damage control more than anything else. Oh, did I forget to mention Christopher Landon basically left, I think, to film Drop, but also Melissa kind of just scrambled the entire production. So they brought the writer of the original Scream movie, Kevin Williamson, back to do rewrites and also direct. Not gonna lie, Kevin Williamson directing, I've seen Teaching Mrs. Tingle. That's his only other film. Not gonna lie, I like it, but that was a lot of years ago, so I can't tell you whether or not it actually lives up to my initial impression. Probably not. But you know what? Cautious optimism is a blessing, so I went into it hoping for that, plus going to see it in the opening night fan event. Obviously, the Scream heads are basically making the experience better, and proof that I'm a Scream fan like everybody else, wore a Scream shirt. That is to say, of course, I am going to hope for the best possible movie. It's probably my least favorite, but thankfully the Scream franchise has been so consistent that the weakest movie of the series is by no means bad. It is a major disappointment nonetheless, but starting off with the positives. Neve Campbell is Sidney Prescott for life. Her character is one of the most iconic in horror movie history and just one of the most, memorable and iconic, but also one you definitely sympathize with. Neve Campbell, even though this is clearly, hey, I got paid a lot of money, I might as well return, she obviously does a lot to make Sidney just work. Even though the screenplay may not give her the best material, Sidney is still a strong character and Neve Campbell does great. Shout out to Isabel May as her daughter. I do feel she does strong and shows that she has a potential career ahead of her. Plus that mother-daughter dynamic kind of overshadows the entire movie for better or worse. I have to mention her as a standout because she was in an ensemble that I'll get to the negatives in a little bit. Kevin Williamson, he's an icon. He's obviously the guy who made this franchise. And I do feel for his directing, it's definitely stylish in a lot of places, plus good cinematography too, leading to a lot of moments which visually look neat. And he also wrote the screenplay with, I think, one of the writers of the previous two Scream movies, which rewrites again. Their screenplay, it's decent. I thought at least one, maybe two kills were actually pretty neat, probably some of the best in the series. The rest of them are fine, but I do feel two stood out for me to say, yeah, they definitely stepped up their game a lot. Plus, Ghostface here is actually a lot more vicious. Granted, the previous two movies were also vicious, but I do feel they ramp up the violence to a degree where you may actually feel a little bit uncomfortable because the Scream movies, while they have always been violent, this goes to the next level. So mileage may vary on whether or not you like it. Plus, I also do feel Marco Beltrami, he was the composer of, I think, the first 4 Scream movies. It's honestly hard to notice that he wasn't the one who composed the previous 2 movies before Scream 7. But you know what? He's an icon, and he definitely brings his ethereal style that was present in the other Scream movies here, and I can only respect him for that. Beltrami is absolutely the GOAT composer of this franchise. Plus, seeing a lot of the returning ensemble, because obviously they indicated that they would be bringing back some of the previous Ghostfaces as well as already dead characters. Their inclusion isn't the best, but it's good to see them. I guess that's segueing into my negatives. I am so sorry. I'm not going to try to like tear apart this movie because it clearly has its benefits, but man, it does feel more nostalgia bait than Scream 6. And I didn't mind the last time, but here it really does feel like this movie is like stuck in nostalgia bait hell a little bit. Like, I will admit that it was nice seeing them focus more on the mother-daughter dynamic than I thought they would, but that comes at an increasingly concerning cost. Because the other characters, old and new, just feel like they're there, to the point where if you're expecting McKenna Grace to be in there a lot, nonetheless, it does feel like the characters are kind of just thrown in there and they do not get the most development. It's just Sydney as well as her daughter, and even then, it's not like the most complex development. I will admit they got decent development. And I also do feel with the kills, again, 2 standouts, but the rest of them were kind of just, they were trying to ramp it up to the point where, as creative as they got, they just felt goofy. I know that the Scream movies have always had goofy moments, especially goofy kills, but it comes at a cost to this movie because they're trying to make it so dark that it leaves the levity moments to kind of fall on the wayside. Like, they definitely try to be comedic. Like, I get it, the Scream movies have always had decent comedy. I mean, they're meta horror movies, but to the point where this movie, I won't say it goes too meta, definitely on par with the other Scream movies, but seriously, it's just all over the place. And that all over the place nature really just makes it feel like a drag a bit. Like, as much as it wants to be goofy and serious, it doesn't mesh well together. And the plot just hops from one place to another and one beat to another, to the point where you're not as engaged as you would be as to who the Ghostface killer is. So I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna reveal anything, but this is worse than Roman Bridger. The reveal was so out of nowhere. I don't get how they can make something, well, actually, you know what, never mind. I was kind of expecting it to be worse, but to the point where, really? I thought Roman Bridger was actually better. Like, one Ghostface killer that's unique and inventive. The reveal here is just so bizarre. It just puts a damper on the amount of, like, surprise you're supposed to have when it comes to the reveal. I actually do not mind the reveal from the previous Scream movie, but it's to the point where I can actually say it's a great Ghostface reveal, that last movie. That's how laughable the reveal here is. I cannot believe it. And it just ruins what they were trying to do here. Like, I know that they were hyping up as Stu returning. I'm not going to say anything else. I mean, Matthew Lillard being back is cool, but seriously, it leads to a reveal that is so dumb that I'm honestly shocked that it wasn't a reveal in, like, the Scary Movies. And I haven't even seen them yet, but they did play a Scary Movie 6 trailer, so I'm at least intrigued. I think it's just called Scary Movie, which is weird, but you know what? Scream 2022 was just called Scream, so yeah. Maybe I'm missing stuff. I'm probably gonna wrap it up there, to the point where it's kind of like if you are a diehard Scream fan and you do not really care about, I don't know, good development consistent with the other Scream movies, you're gonna have a blast. Like, I heard a lot of people clapping at the, I don't know, clap-worthy moments, but it's to the point where it's clearly nostalgia bait, because I really didn't feel that emotional. But you know what? It's like a Minecraft movie to a lesser extent. I wasn't victim to the chicken jockey trend. I don't think this is as bad as the chicken jockey trend. Neve Campbell does good. I feel like the entire cast does good, but it really does feel like Sydney show as well as her daughter. And there are a lot of moments which had me on the edge of my seat, sure. That's just a benefit to how good some of the kills are, too, as well as how strong the directing and Marco Beltrami's score are. Nevertheless, I hate the fact that I'm admitting that it's my least favorite Scream movie, and it really is not just limited to the fact that it just feels odd. Speaking of which, it just feels odd how they basically excuse the change of pace and change of direction from Scream 6, but they do a fine job mostly. Once again, it's not bad. The Scream movies are so consistent that even the worst one is not exactly bad, but I don't think it's exactly going to be the most desired entry in my next Scream binge. I really do wish it has like a Scream 2 effect, to the point where the first time I watched it, I turned it off. The Randy Meeks death was too much. But the second time I watched it, it was fine. Then the more I rewatched it, it got better and better, to the point where I could say, yeah, it's a pretty solid sequel. I am hoping that Scream 7 has that same effect, because it clearly wants to be a grand emotional send-off kind of to the Scream franchise. So yeah, mileage may vary, but for the real authority, it's not good enough to approve, but thankfully it's not bad enough to reject again because of the consistency of the Scream franchise. But for me, wait until streaming, 5 out of 10. If you are a diehard Scream fan and again can overlook a lot of the issues, you're definitely going to have a great time with this, but for me, man, underwhelmed. But again, not horrible. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, to our post notifications, and comment your thoughts on the movie, and definitely let me know what you thought of it and how would you rank the Scream movies. All right, peace.